It was a crisp Friday evening at the Gourmet Bistro, one of the most popular restaurants in the upscale chain known as Dining Elite. The restaurant buzzed with patrons eager to enjoy gourmet meals crafted by award-winning chefs. Among them sat Emma Roberts, a young woman in her late 20s who had come straight from work for a much-needed dinner alone. Dressed casually but elegantly in a navy blue blouse and tailored trousers, she looked like any other professional unwinding after a long week. Emma scanned the menu thoughtfully before settling on the grilled salmon with lemon dill sauce, paired with a side of roasted vegetables. As she sipped her water, waiting for her meal, she couldn't help but notice how smoothly everything seemed to be running. Servers moved gracefully between tables, refilling glasses and delivering plates with practiced ease. Everything appeared perfect until it wasn't. When her food arrived, Emma tucked in eagerly, savoring the delicate flavors. But halfway through her meal, disaster struck. She noticed something amiss. A charge on her bill caught her eye, a $20 fee labeled Special Seasoning Surcharge. Confused, she flagged down her server, a tall man named Marcus, whose name tag gleamed under the soft lighting. "Excuse me," Emma began politely, pointing to the mysterious charge. "What exactly is this Special Seasoning Surcharge? I don't recall ordering anything extra." Marcus barely glanced at the receipt before responding dismissively. "That's standard for premium dishes," he said curtly, already turning away to attend to another table. Unsatisfied with his answer, Emma pressed further. "I'm sorry, but I've eaten here before, and I've never seen this charge. Could you clarify what it covers?" At this point, Marcus sighed audibly, clearly irritated. He turned back toward her, his expression tight. "Look, ma'am, if you didn't want to pay for high-quality ingredients, maybe you should have chosen something cheaper." Emma blinked, taken aback by his tone. "I'm not disputing the quality of the food," she replied evenly, though her cheeks flushed slightly. "I'm asking for clarification because it seems unusual. Isn't that reasonable?" But Marcus wasn't interested in reason. His impatience grew palpable as he crossed his arms. "You're holding up my service for no good reason," he snapped. "Either pay your bill or leave. We don't have time for customers who can't make up their minds." The words hung heavy in the air, sharp enough to cut through the cheerful hum of the restaurant. Other diners nearby started glancing over, curious about the commotion. Emma felt heat rise to her face, not out of embarrassment, but anger. This wasn't just poor customer service. It was outright rudeness. And yet, instead of escalating the situation, she decided to take a different approach. With deliberate calm, Emma reached into her purse and pulled out her phone. She dialed a number she knew by heart, placing the call on speaker without hesitation. Marcus watched her warily, unsure of what she was doing. "Hi, Dad," Emma said brightly once the call connected. "How's your day going?" On the other end of the line, a deep voice responded warmly. "Hey, sweetheart, just wrapping up some meetings. What's up?" "Well," Emma continued, her tone light but pointed, "I'm actually at the Gourmet Bistro right now, your very own establishment, and I seem to be having a bit of an issue with my bill. Do you mind if I explain?" Marcus froze mid-step, his eyes widening as realization dawned. Suddenly, the confident demeanor he'd worn like armor crumbled away, replaced by panic. Had he misjudged this seemingly ordinary customer? Was she truly related to someone important? Her father chuckled lightly, oblivious to the tension brewing on Emma's end. "Of course, tell me all about it. If there's a problem, we'll fix it right away." Emma smiled sweetly at Marcus, who now stood rooted to the spot. "Great. So, apparently, there's this charge on my bill called a Special Seasoning Surcharge. Does that sound familiar to you?" There was a brief pause on the line. Then, her father's voice turned serious. What? That doesn't sound like anything we authorize. Let me talk to whoever's handling your table." Emma handed the phone to Marcus, whose hand trembled as he accepted it. Hello," he stammered, his earlier bravado completely evaporated. "Hi, this is Charles Roberts," came the firm reply. "I understand you've been giving my daughter trouble over her bill." If possible, Marcus paled even further. "Charles Roberts, the CEO of Dining Elite." The man whose name was synonymous with excellence in fine dining. The same man who could fire him with a single phone call. I didn't realize, Marcus stuttered, struggling to form coherent sentences. I thought she was just being difficult. Charles interrupted him sharply. Difficult? My daughter is asking legitimate questions about charges on her bill. That's not being difficult. That's being a responsible consumer. Now, let me speak to your manager immediately. Without waiting for a response, Charles ended the call. Marcus stared at the phone in his hand, then at Emma, who wore an expression of quiet triumph. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Finally, Marcus managed to choke out an apology. I'm so sorry, Miss Roberts, he said, his voice barely above a whisper. Please allow me to remove the charge and comp your meal. This won't happen again. Emma nodded graciously, accepting his apology with poise. Thank you. I appreciate that. As Marcus scurried off to rectify the situation, Emma leaned back in her chair, reflecting on what had just transpired. While part of her felt vindicated, another part couldn't help but feel a pang of sympathy for the waiter. After all, hadn't she once been in a similar position, working long hours and demanding jobs, dealing with difficult people, and letting stress get the better of her? Still, there was a lesson to be learned here, for both Marcus and herself. Power, whether real or perceived, had a way of shaping interactions in profound ways. And sometimes the smallest acts of kindness or cruelty could ripple outward, affecting far more than just the individuals involved. By the time Emma left the restaurant that night, word of the incident had spread among the staff. Managers were scrambling to ensure such a mistake wouldn't happen again, while servers whispered nervously about the CEO's daughter, who had visited unannounced. Meanwhile, Marcus found himself summoned to a meeting with upper management, a conversation that would undoubtedly shape the trajectory of his career. For Emma, however, the experience served as a reminder of the importance of grace under pressure. Whether you're wielding influence or facing adversity, how you choose to respond defines not only the outcome, but also the legacy you leave behind. And so, the story of the rude waiter and the CEO's daughter became more than just gossip fodder for the restaurant staff. It became a cautionary tale about assumptions, accountability, and the unpredictable nature of human connection. Because in the end, we're all just people trying to navigate a world where every action carries weight and every word has consequences.